ऐसे 710 comparative information, corresponding figures and comparative financial statements. Comparative information, corresponding figures and comparative financial statement. So let's just first of all try to understand by the name what do you mean by comparative information. So information which is comparable, right? Any information which is comparable is what? Comparative information. So you might have seen generally in the financial statements, in the annual report or any financial statement that you might have seen. So you will see what? Income statement. Suppose it is the income statement for the year ended 31st March 2023. Then you will see what? Suppose revenue. So 2023 also it will be there, and for 2022 just the year before it will be presented, right? A year before has to be presented mandatory. It is a requirement of the FRF, India's AS, and even Schedule 3. So revenue from operation or whatever line item that you report, you have to also disclose about the last year, right? So this is done for comparison. This reporting 2022 is done for what? It is done for comparison. So this is a comparative information. And the way we generally do in the financial statement, this is called as what? Corresponding figures. This is a corresponding figure. Sir, so then what is the difference between corresponding and comparative financial statement? Comparative financial statement may you will see that there are two set of financial statement. One is 2020-23 and the other one is 2022. So generally you will find that all line items that is disclosed, they will disclose it in two ways. Not in two ways, but they will disclose it in two financial statements. So two statements will be prepared, and the major difference lies in was whether do you audit also the 2022 figures. That means not audit actually, but whether do you give expression of opinion is given or not on 2022 FY 2022 पे do you express your opinion or do you express your opinion only in FY 2023? बोलो. In normally what we do in audits, do we express our opinion on FY 23 current year or do we express our opinion on last year as well? In FY 2023 only, right? So the major difference lies here only. The corresponding figures we give our opinion on the current figure, not on the comparative financial statement, not on the comparative information. We give on the current figures, not on the comparative figures. However, in the comparative financial statement, we express our opinion on both, on current period year as well as on the prior period, last year, or the comparative financial statement. If not last year, then you can say what? Comparative information पे भी we give expression of our opinion, and also we express our opinion on current year financial statements. Clear the major difference if you can ask, and the difference lies in this only: corresponding figures and comparative financial statement. So see scope wise you will find that auditor's responsibility with respect to comparative information. What is the responsibility? How are you going to deal with comparative information? What evidences you need to take? What precaution you need to take? Whether in the last year they are modified, so should we also modify in the current year, or should we do not modify in the current year even if the last year it was modified, or vice versa, if last year it was not modified, however should we modify in the current year with respect to last year figures? So all these points, comparative information related, we will have to see in SA 710. Then prior paid financial statement are audited by another auditor or it is unaudited, then you will have to also apply what? Revised SA 510, because this is something new for us as an auditor. It was either unaudited or it was either done by another auditor. So you'll have to apply what? SA 510 as well. Nature of comparative information will depend upon the applicable FRF. It could be what? Corresponding figure, or it could be comparative financial statement. The difference I just told you: corresponding figure and comparative financial statement. Approach often specified by L&R may also be specified by terms of engagement. क्या बोल रहे हो? वापस बोलो.
करस्पॉन्डिंग फिगर्स मतलब प्रीवियस ईयर के फिगर्स ना.
या
ठीक
corresponding figures means previous year's figure. So see definition wise I've already told you. Comparative information की definition देखो, corresponding figure की देखो, comparative FS की देखो. So corresponding figures, you will see here what? These are the comparative information where amounts and other disclosure for the prior period are included as an integral part of the current period financial statement. Integral part है current period financial statement का, and are intended to be read only These are not meant for us to express our opinion on them. These are all for us to compare only, read only. That's it. In relation to the amounts and other disclosure relating to the current period. Comparative FS, however, where amounts and other disclosure for the prior period are included for comparison, right? So we include here for the comparison of the current period, but if audited, are referred to in the auditor's opinion. So when we do audit of this, then we will also express our opinion. So if audited is a big term, so we generally do audit of comparative FS if we found certain, suppose if we find certain misstatements in the prior period, and we suppose communicate the same to the management and let them know that okay fine, please let auditors also know about the communication about the material misstatement. And if auditor do not rectifies the same, then we will have to express our opinion on the current period as well as the prior period financial statement. So that is the difference between comparative and corresponding figure. So in comparative financial statement, you also express your opinion on current period as well as the other disclosure or for the prior period, amounts and other disclosure for the prior period. ठीक है? Yes, okay or not? So see here, corresponding figure में auditor's opinion refers to current period only. However, for comparative FS, में auditor's opinion refers to each period of which financial statement are present. So if you are presenting for 2023 and 2022, you will have to cover your opinion on both the years generally. ठीक है? So the main provision of the standard starts here. Objective is to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence, obviously, right? Whether in all material respects, in accordance with the requirements of the comparative information applicable FRF, comparative financial information included in the FS has been presented in accordance with applicable FRF or not. So objective is to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence that whether the comparative information is presented in all material respects in accordance with applicable FRF, and to report in accordance with the auditor's reporting responsibility, right? So to report in accordance with the auditor's reporting responsibility, whatever your responsibility is, that is your two main objectives, twin objectives. But let's start from your audit procedure. So you can write this as trick दे दो, what दे दो बोले तो डी से डिटरमाइन करो सबसे पहले कि वेदर फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट इंक्लूड कंपैरेटिव इंफॉर्मेशन रिक्वायर्ड बाय द एफआरएफ, whether financial statement include or not comparative information which is required by the FRF or not. So you will have to see that FRF requires me to disclose last year figures also, right? So if FRF requires me to disclose last year figures, then whether FRF, whether our financial statement include kind of the disclosure which is required by the FRF or not. That is the first point. And whether such information is classified or not appropriately. For this purpose, you will evaluate. Evaluate what? Generally, we do what? If you are aware, as per SA 510 also, we were we had the twin objectives of that whether the opening balances are arriving at the same point as per last year closing balance, right? So information agree with the amounts and other disclosure which was presented in the prior period. So if you are presenting any information with the prior period, that should be your opening and any intermediate transaction, and then you should arrive at your closing figure. So closing figure should mota mati do what? Agree with the amounts and other disclosure which is presented in the prior period. And the other thing that was related was whether accounting policy that is reflected in the comparative information are consistent or not. So the two things that were there in SA 510 also was one with respect to amounts and disclosure, and the other one was with respect to accounting policy. If you remember, then we also determined that whether the accounting policy that was applied in the closing figures should also flow the same accounting policy in the opening figures. Yes or no? So same here means what? Whether comparative information agrees with the amounts and other disclosure presented in the prior period, and whether the accounting policy reflected in the comparative information are consistent with those applied in the current period. And any changes you make in the accounting policy, you have to properly account for the same. So कोई भी accounting policy में change कर रहे हो तो properly account for करो. Accounting policy reflect जो हो रही comparative information में should be consistent. एंड ऑल्सो एग्री होना चाहिए तुम्हारी जो भी इन्फॉर्मेशन कंपेरेटिव इन्फॉर्मेशन में जो भी इन्फॉर्मेशन है शुड एग्री विद द अमाउंट्स एंड अदर डिस्क्लोजर व्हिच इज प्रेजेंटेड इन द प्रायर पीरियड. Consistency. Yes, consistency was there in SA 510. That means our accounting policy should be consistent. Correct. Consistent with closing and in the opening as well. Now, if you have any doubt over existence of possible material misstatement, if you have any doubt about MMS, MMS in where? MMS in comparative information. So perform then additional audit procedure to obtain site to determine the existence of MMS. And generally, SA 560 subsequent event also applies if auditor had audited the prior period FS. So now you are coming about to know, or you are aware, now you are aware about any subsequent information, right, relating to prior period financial statement, so that it can also flow to SA 560. That is what they are trying to say. So prior period financial statement, you just have become aware about any new information which is leading to MMS in the FS of prior period. Then you can also flow through SA 560 subsequent events. And lastly, you will have to obtain WRL. So they do obtain WRL. Now this is the important part of the chapter, the most important, you can say. 95% of the time you will find the question from here only. 90% of the time you will find the question from here. So pay close attention. Let's just go through the question once. See, go through the question, do not go through the answer. So done with the question. What do you understand by the question? It
So
says what? Yeah.
in the previous year, depreciation was charged to PL instead of carrying value under the asset construction account.
Hmm.
So the question is requiring the advice of the auditor whether how to deal with this situation.
So prior period mein there was a improper financial statements, right? You can say a material misstatement. So whether such modification in the previous year's audit report would have any audit implication for the current year, and if yes, how? अच्छा, ये तो दूसरा क्वेश्चन हो गया. Okay, अभी अभी wait, I'll tell you the question for this. Okay, the question for this is, you can write a question for this. This is generally asked in exam. The question will be, क्वेश्चन गया क्या लेकिन इसका. So question is, last year provision was not made for rupee 2.5 crore anyway, and due to which current due to which auditor in prior period modified his opinion. ठीक है. What will you do as an auditor in current period, not in prior period, in current period? Yes, then Lakshmi will come on to that also. That question also will come back. अभी ये देखो ये वाला क्वेश्चन, व्हाट विल यू डू एज एन ऑडिटर इन करेंट पीरियड इफ केस 1 मैनेजमेंट rectifies MMS and made provision of 2.5 CR in current year. Case 2, management still has not made the provision required. ठीक है, गेटिंग द क्वेश्चन कि लास्ट ईयर दे हैव मेड अ मॉडिफिकेशन इन द ओपिनियन पैरा बिकॉज of certain material misstatement. Now in the current year management has not made the rectification, then what will you do as an auditor? And if the management has corrected this rectified this MMS, then what will you do as an auditor? ठीक है, yes or no? Is it provision for payable and expense for 31st March or bad debts provision? Could be any provisions. You should make the provisions, right? If you're not, if you're not provided for any amount which you
सर
should.
ऑडियो नहीं आ रहा।
Okay, sorry, I was on mute. Avijay is asking, is it provision for payable and expenses or is it a bad debts provision? Avijay, doesn't matter. If you were required to provide for any amount, then you should have made the provisions, right? Unless it is not qualifying for the, as per India's 37, you will read, then it is not qualifying for the provision making. That means that probable, it is still probable, or you cannot recognize the figures, you cannot calculate the monetary amount, then that is to be shown in contingent liability and not in provision. However, if you are required to provide for the same, then you should have provided for. Since you did not provide for, auditor modified. केस वन में कुछ भी नहीं करेंगे, केस वन में कुछ भी नहीं करेंगे. इन द करेंट पीरियड यू विल नॉट मॉडिफाई. दैट इज व्हाट धनलक्ष्मी इज आर सेइंग. एंड केस टू में व्हाट विल वी डू? मैनेजमेंट has still not provided for the provision. Case 2 में will inquire the management that why they are not rectifying. हाँ हाँ, we inquired but they are not rectifying. Then we will modify. Yes, Pooja. We will modify our current period financial statement. Correct, Dhanlakshmi. Current period financial statement we will modify. Modify. See here, audit opinion not to refer to corresponding figures. See, generally we will not refer to the corresponding figures. Audit opinion, we will not refer to corresponding figure except as per SA 710, when the auditor's report on the prior period as previously issued include a qualified opinion, a disclaimer of opinion, or an adverse opinion. That means prior period mein you modified and the matter which gave rise to the modification is still is now resolved and properly accounted for. So now you will do what? You will not refer to the previous modification. You need not do anything. The auditor's opinion on the current period will not refer to the previous modification. That means in the current period also he will give what? Unmodified opinion. Unmodified opinion. Now, SA 710 further states that if the auditors report on the prior period as previously issued and resolved a qualified opinion, and the matter that gave rise, the matter which because of which the modification happened is still unresolved, is not yet resolved. That means this provision we have not yet prepared. This provision in even in the current year you have not prepared. So then you will have to modify the auditor's opinion in the current period. Current period में modify करूँ. And when you modify the case 2, when case 2 में whenever you modify, so you'll also have to give what basis for opinion para, yes or no? Basis for modification, basis for opinion para में you will refer to both current period figures and corresponding last year ka figures. You'll refer to both current period figures and corresponding figure if the figures are material. If the figures are material, if the current period figures are material to the financial statement of the current period. However, in other cases, that means what? In other cases, that means what? If current period figures are not material, if period figures are not material, then then you will just say what? That because of the mismatch between prior period and current period, we are modifying our opinion. Because of the mismatch, we are modifying our opinion. So in other cases, you are saying what? Explain that the audit opinion has been modified because of the effects or possible effects of the unresolved matter on the comparability of the current period figure and corresponding figures. So if it is not material to the financial statement, you need not refer to the prior period figures and the current period figures. You will mention that we have qualified the opinion because we are not able to match the prior period figure with the current period figure, and there is some inconsistency between the both. because of the effects of possible effects of the unresolved matter on the comparability of the current period figures and the corresponding figure, audit opinion has been modified. Audit opinion has been modified. All the points, have you got all the points? See, it is very easy. First point is what? That matter resolved ho gaya, so need not refer to the prior period modification. Need not refer to prior period modification. Second para deals what? Matter is still not resolved. Then you will give what? Current period में modify करोगे. Current period में you will do modify, and in the basis for opinion para में you will specifically refer to both current period figure as well as prior period figure if it is material. Current period figure अगर material है to the financial statement of the current year. And if it is not material, that is in other cases, you will then have to tally with prior period figures, current period figures, whether audit opinion, and you will have to specify that audit opinion has been modified because the prior period figure which did not tally with the current period figures has a significant impact on the current period financial statement. However, we are not able to refer to both current period figures and financial statement figures because they are not that material in other cases. Any doubt in this? Please go through this point again. If any doubt can come, बिकॉज अब कुछ बचा नहीं है ऐसे में. सेकेंड पॉइंट नहीं समझा, एग्जाम्पल से समझाओ. Second point is when in other cases, that means what? So in the current period figures and the corresponding figures, this current period figure जो है ना ये तुम्हारी, this is actually a material figure. That means it is breaching the threshold as per SA 320. As per SA 320, this is a material amount and disclosure. So in the basis for modified opinion, you will say that we are qualifying our opinion because prior period figures was this much amount, and according to current period financial statement, the prior period figure is not referring or not telling, not matching. So you will refer to current period figures as well as prior period figures. However, if you see that this is not a material figure, current period figure material nahi hai, but you are anyway modifying because you are not able to have that audit evidences with respect to prior period figures, although they are not material. But you will say what? That yes, because we are not able to tally, because we are not able to see the consistency between prior period figures and current period figures, we are modifying in the basis for audit opinion para. In other cases means what? The amount in the current period figures of which prior period figure is not telling, the current period figure is not that material, then in that case we will explain that the audit opinion we have modified it because of the effects or possible effects of the unresolved matter on the comparability of the current period figures. That means the comparable amount of the last year prior period का जो amount है, it is still unresolved, and that is why we are qualifying. And it can have an effect, it can have the effect because of the effects or possible effects of the unresolved matter on the comparability of the same. That means this effect can be have what? That you are not able to compare with the prior period figures. Whatever you wanted to compare of the current period figure with the prior period figure, you are not able to compare, and that is why you are modifying. You are not able to exactly refer to both the figures of the current period and the prior period because there is no significance of referring to the figures. However, you will say what? That we are not able to signify, or what, we are not able to indicate any effect, or the effect or the possible effect of this mismatch is significant on the comparative comparison हमारा नहीं हो पा रहा है. Effect or the possible effect of the unresolved matter is on the comparability of the current period figures and the corresponding figures. ठीक है. अच्छा मेरे को बताओ, लास्ट ईयर इट वाज अनमॉडिफाइड ओपिनियन, लास्ट ईयर द ऑडिटर इशूड अनमॉडिफाइड ओपिनियन. in the current period financial statement you are identifying that there were material misstatements in the last year's financial statement, prior period में misstatements है, then what will you do? Prior period financial statements auditor did not modify it. However, while completing your audit for the current period, you identified material misstatements in the prior periods. What will you do as an auditor? What?
We will modify the current year financial statement, no?
Right. Modify the opinion. Vijay is also correct. Modify. So see now comparative financial statement में auditors की reporting क्या होगी? Auditor opinion to refer to each period, right? I told you in the case of comparative FS, not corresponding figure. We are now starting with what? We have now started comparative FS. So you have to refer to each period of FS that you are disclosing. So whatever financial statement that you are saying, you have to disclose the same or give your opinion. Auditor has to give his opinion and has to refer to each period for which FS are presented and on which opinion is expressed. If opinion on prior period FS expressed in current period differs from the opinion expressed in the relevant prior period. So you express suppose modified opinion during the current period. However, last year it was unmodified opinion. So then you have to give a substantive reason why you are differencing or why you are deviating from the opinion from last year. Why are you deviating from the opinion for last year? Now, if auditor concludes that material misstatement is present in previous audited figures of financial statement, he should report it to management. So if you find that there were a MMS in prior period financial statement, so you'll have to tell what management and request that the predecessor auditor also have to be reported. Please management, please inform predecessor auditor also along with you. I am reporting it to you. I am informing you that prior period financial statement included a MMS. Please convey this to previous auditor also so that he will rectify. If he rectifies, it is rarely the case. If he rectifies, then fine. We won't be required to. We won't be required to do what? If then we won't be required to do what? We won't be required to give opinion on the prior period figures. So if previous auditor is rectifying or is correcting the changes, then we won't be required to give opinion on the prior period figures. Do you remember this if audited wala jo point tha? If audited. If audited. This if audited is here only. That means comparative financial statement if audited. When will it get audited? Where you find certain material misstatement in the financial statement in the previous year prior period and you disclose the same to the management and told the management that please convey to the predecessor auditor also, but predecessor auditor did not corrected his audit report, so then we have to audit. Then if we have to audit and this audit is referred to in the auditor's opinion. Clear? Yes or no? Bolo bolo bolo. Now this is common reporting requirement under specific circumstances for both corresponding as well as comparative. So this is common points for both corresponding figure as well as comparative financial statement. So in both the places, if prior period financial statements are audited by another auditor, if prior period financial statements are audited by another auditor, then you will state the prior period that it was audited by another auditor and not by me. You will state this, and then you will also state that what opinion he gave, what opinion prior period auditor gave, previous auditor gave. Which opinion did he give? Qualified, modification, or adverse or disclaimer, whatever be the opinion. Then date of that report. If material misstatement exists in prior period financial statement not reflected in the previous auditor's report, then you have to also say about date of that report. Material misstatement exists in prior period financial statement. So बताओ तुम्हारा दिन क्या था ऑडिट रिपोर्ट का. एंड कम्युनिकेट मिसस्टेटमेंट्स टू मैनेजमेंट टीसीडब्ल्यूजी की ये मिस्टेक्स है, मिसस्टेटमेंट्स है, एंड रिक्वेस्ट करो दैट predecessor auditor also request him that he also get informed about this. If he makes the rectification, if he makes the rectification, then we don't have to give opinion on the comparative information. We don't have to give opinion on the comparative information. However, if he do not give his expression of opinion, then we will have to audit, express our opinion on the comparative financial statement as well. Prior period FS are unaudited. That means first time they are getting audit. So corresponding financial statements are also unaudited, right? If prior period financial statements are unaudited, it could be the case that where you did not get the auditor, or it could be the case where you were just now being enrolled for the audit. You're just now being applied what audits. Then in that case, corresponding, since corresponding figures are unaudited. So you cannot say that okay fine, corresponding figures are unaudited, so why to waste time, simply adopt all the figures, because anyway we won't be able to check. No, you have to provide for alternative audit procedure, check all the opening balances, closing balances tally हो रहे कि नहीं है, as per ऐसे 510 पूरी procedure perform करोगे, and even after that you will not be relieved to obtain psi that opening balances do not contain any misstatement that can potentially affect the current period financial statement. So it should not contain any certain misstatements that can potentially affect what, current period financial statements. So see the question and the answer is same what we saw. जो प्रोविजन वाला क्वेश्चन था ना, प्रोविजन वाला जो क्वेश्चन था, that provision we did not provide for in the current period, and case 2 provision we provided for the provision, same answer. Because here also we are doing what, we are actually charging depreciation to profit and loss account. However, it should be reduced from the carrying value of asset under construction. So that is a lacuna in our case. Now they are asking whether such modification in the previous year's audit report would have any audit implication for the current year. So you specify that okay, if it is having any audit implication, then we will specify that we are not able to tally current period figures and prior period figures. However, if it is not relevant, or if it is not what, material, you can say, then in that case you can ignore the same. So whether such modification in the previous year's audit report would have any audit implication for the current year. So yes, you will write the entire that answer na, yes it will have an audit implication for the current year, since asset under construction opening closing balance will flow as opening balance, right? So that is it, that is the same answer. Let's take a break. We'll meet at 9:40 and complete finish off with essay 720 then. ठीक है, 15
सर
minutes break.
क्लास कब होगी?
It will be over by 10:30, 10:45 anyway.
ओके सर.
Yes, are we back? Everyone? चलो, गरिमा.
यस सर.
So essay 720, we are going to deal with what? Auditor responsibility relating to OI. Auditor's responsibility relating to other information. Just wait. Yeah. So auditor's responsibility relating to other information. Other information. So let's first see in an annual report what all informations are given by the company in an annual report. So apart from financial statement, apart from auditor's report, there are so many other things which are given in the annual report, like chairman report, board's report, CSR responsibility, CSR report, any committee report, like audit committee's report, risk management committee, RMC report, risk management system, how is it there, ICO FR, and then you have separately half of the annual report is filled with MADA. MADA. Do you remember MADA we did yesterday? Management analysis and discussion. Management discussion and analysis. Sorry, management discussion and analysis. Right. So there, what all points were there? What all points were covered? Anyone remember? Yesterday, what all points are covered in MADA? बोलो. What all points are covered in MADA? बोलो भाई. Hmm? Risk, opportunities, threats. Suneshwar is saying yes. Risk. What are the opportunities? What is the overall outlook? Yes. iOS or ICS for HR. So iOS is what? Opportunities. So your strengths, your internal control system. HR was what? For HR was what? So see here in any all the segments they will specify what is the overview, right? Okay, sorry. Yeah, they will specify the overview. Then what are they expecting? What achievements they did? Ideal wins. Any initiative that they have taken? What is their outlook? So Indian ER&D sector valued at USD 31 billion in 2019 is well positioned to harness the favorable condition. That means overall outlook. They will try to link it with what overall industry का क्या figure है, and then whether overall industry is growing, and then as a company they will grow. So they are trying to link it with this outlook. Similarly, what is their environment? What is the risk? What is the opportunities? Human resource. Actually, I'm not able to navigate properly. देखो इंडेक्स में you will see company information is there, right? Chairman report, board of director की report, leadership team, what is their leadership team, executive committee, L&T nationwide network, and then SFS CFS. Then see MADA कहाँ से चालू हो रहा है? Management discussion analysis, it is starting from page 18 and it runs through page 117. पेज 18 से लेके पेज 117, 100 पेज की तो माडा है. That means of all the segments that L&T comprise of, they will specifically deal with each and every segment and tell what is their outlook, what is the risk, what is the opportunity, how is the industry performing, everything. Industry outlook, what is the structure of the industry, right? That is what all were there, right? Yesterday, iOS for ICS or HR, or iOS or ICS for HR. So industry outlook, industry structure, risk, opportunities, threats, so everything will be specified in their MADA, then integrated report, then statutory reports like business responsibility and sustainability reporting BRSR. This is a new requirement which was implemented in 2021. Then AGM notice, your board report, standalone financial statement, CFS, and information regarding subsidiary company. So this is the fifth point is only financial statement. Rest all the points that you are seeing is what your other information. Rest all the points that you are seeing is other information. ठीक है. So that is what your other information is. What I was trying to say here is all this information, other information. Don't you feel that here one report I am not able to get, CSR report, CSR information, CSR report, CSR reporting, it must be there somewhere. So CSR report, don't you feel that in the CSR report they will be specifying all the details? Like generally L&T does CSR in four areas: effluent treatment plants, one is hospital, the other one is education, and the fourth one, I don't remember, but it was, I guess, transport or something. So in this four area they will specify the detail of each and every region where they have specified amounts, and then total amount of all these four amounts, that will turn out to be a total CSR expense for the current year, right? So this total CSR expense should be exactly the same that we are seeing in the financial statements, yes or no? Certain information which are there in other information, not in FS, certain information, certain figures in other information could be the information which are also there in the financial statements. Getting this? So the CSR is kind of the same example. CSR is of the same example, that where you will find that yes, the CSR expense you will find it in same CSR expense you will find it in financial statement as well, right? CSR expense you will find it in the financial statements as well, and the amount should tally. However, there could be certain other information which you will not find in financial statement. Other information may you will find certain information like example, number of factories, number of subsidiaries, number of employee counts, number of branches, or in the case of suppose telecom industry, in the case of suppose you are seeing a balance sheet of Airtel, annual report of Airtel, Bharti Airtel, and you are seeing number of subscribers. Now this is also key information for us, for auditor to examine, and this is also key information in other information you will find number of subscribers, but you will not find this in financial statements. So standards SA 720 overall it says what, that whatever information that you find in financial statement and whatever information you find in other information, so if you can tally the same, if you can tally the same, then you should tally. And if there is any material inconsistency, what is material inconsistency? Mi. If there is any material inconsistency, inconsistency means what? The amount is not telling. The amount in the financial statement CSR expense is different, and the amount here in CSR report, in the CSR report, in annual report, other information, it is different. And also you will tally it with what? Workings of management. So management will provide you the all the working, right? Excel file hogi. Excel file mein you will find that there are so many bifurcations, region wise bifurcation, expense wise bifurcation, hospital, and all these bifurcation will be given in Excel, right? So you will find all this in your working as well, and this working you will tell is this as what? Auditor's knowledge of other information, AKOI, auditor's knowledge obtained during the audit regarding other information. Auditor's knowledge regarding audit obtained during the audit regarding other information. So see, for three things we are here, we have to deal with three things. One is other information, the other one is other auditor's knowledge with regard to other information which we have obtained during the audit, and third one is financial statement. We have to tally all, we have to tally all. If there is served figure in the financial statement, suppose CSR, and we have also received certain workings, that knowledge we have regarding the CSR, and we are also seeing it in board report or CSR report, then we should tally all the three. That is what is the objective. Tally means here only tally, read and tally, that's it. Do not have to check, you do not have to audit. Getting this? You do not have to audit the same, you just have to check whether the same reference, whether the same figures are being populated all the places or not. If there is any material inconsistency, then you will have to see whether material inconsistency or material misstatement is there in OI, मतलब OI में MMS है, या फिर AKOI अपना गड़बड़ है, मतलब अपना नॉलेज ही गड़बड़ है, या फिर अपना फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट में मटेरियल मिसस्टेटमेंट है, और इज देयर मिसस्टेटमेंट इन द फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट, right? So you'll have to see whether the misstatement is in OI, or whether the misstatement is in AKOI, or whether the misstatement is in financial statement. Till now everyone is clear that we have to deal with three things here in the SA 720 auditor's responsibility relating to OI. That OI में जो भी information है, we have to tally with FS, and also we have to tally what knowledge we possess, auditor's knowledge obtained during the audit. All three should tally. If there is any material inconsistency, we should look for where the material inconsistency is. If we find that okay, there is MMS in OI, then we will ask the management to rectify the same. We'll ask the management to rectify if we find that FS में MMS है. If we find that MMS is there in FS, and you know rest of the procedure, right? It's same like 450. What happens after we tell the management to correct? Well, if management agrees, then fine, well and good, right? If management agrees, then okay. If however management do not agree, then what we will do? If management do not agree, then what do we do? Bolo, you already know rest of the standard. If management do not agree to rectify, then what will we do?
Modify.
Modify, or before that
Communicate to TCWD.
communicate to TCWG ना. नहीं हुआ तो पहले पापा के पास जाओगे, right? Communicate to TCWG, tell that management to rectify the same, and in that case you will then see your opinion, what opinion para you will have to consider accordingly. So scope wise, you will see SA 720 deals with auditors responsibility relating to OI, whether financial information or non-financial information. I gave you an example, right? Financial information you can take example of CSR expense. So other information में CSR report में you will find financial information, right? Because this is particularly also there in financial statement. Also you will find some non-financial information. Example I gave you is, suppose example, number of subscribers included in entity's annual report. Now auditor's opinion on the financial statement does not cover the other information. Auditor's opinion does not cover other information. That means what? I told you, you don't have to audit other information. You don't have to do the audit. You don't have to express your opinion on other information. You just have to tally. That's it. You have just have to read and understand. You just have to read a why, understand why, and if you can tally with FS, just do that. You don't have to give your opinion on other information, whether is it giving true and fair view or not, right? So auditor's opinion on FS does not cover other information, nor does this standard on auditing require the auditor to obtain audit evidence beyond what is required to form an opinion on the FS. So you have to form an opinion only on the financial statement, not on the other information. Auditor's responsibility relating to OI apply regardless of whether the OI is obtained by the auditor prior to or after the date of auditor report. So some audit report, some other information you will find that you are able to obtain before the auditor's report date, and some other information you will find that management is saying that you first give your audit report, you first issue the financial, we will then issue financial statement. I mean, you give your audit report on the financial statement, and then accordingly we will also draft other information, few of the other information like chairman report. So chairman report, chairman is saying that we will do it later on after audit report and everything is finalized. I will be generally chairman report, management director report, MD's report, chairman's report, you will find it is released afterwards. However, it is included in annual report. Annual report में audit report is there, annual report में financial statement is there, and financial statement is of from the management, audit report is from the auditor, and rest all other thing, other information is from the management side, right? So chairman report, MD's report, CSR report, everything you will find, few of the reports can be provided to you after you give your audit report. So no matter whether you obtain it before or after, but you will have to read and understand those other information. You will have to abide by your responsibility as per SA 720, no matter whether you receive before the other information or after other information. Now, objective wise, you will see the objectives of the auditor having read the other information are to consider whether there is MI between OI and FS, right? I told you, you'll have to see what? Whether there is material inconsistency between other information and financial statement, whether there is material inconsistency between other information and auditor's knowledge obtained during the audit. So मुझे कुछ एक्सेल फाइल मिलेगी, मुझे कुछ वर्किंग्स मिलेगी, आई विल हैव टू सी कि वो जो नॉलेज मिला है ड्यूरिंग द ऑडिट, ऑडिटर्स नॉलेज ऑब्टेन ड्यूरिंग द ऑडिट, एंड जो अदर इंफॉर्मेशन है वो दोनों टैली हो रहे कि नहीं, दोस शुड आल्सो टैली. Is there any MI between OI and AKOA? Is there any MI between OI and FS? And to respond appropriately when the auditor identifies that such MI appear to exist, then when the auditor otherwise becomes aware that OI appears to be MMS. That means what? If you find that there is MI between OI and FS or between OI and AKOA, then you will have to check whether other information में material misstatement है क्या. क्या अदर इंफॉर्मेशन में मटेरियल मिसस्टेटमेंट है क्या, वेदर यू हैव टू चेक दैट वेदर OI contains MMS. So is there any MI between OI and FS and MI between OI and AKOA? Then you will have to check whether MMS exists in OI. And lastly, to report accordance with SA 720. Annual report की definition देख लो, you already know what is annual report. Then we'll start with requirement of this standard on auditing. Obtaining the other information. How do you obtain other information? Other information like board report, CSR report, MARDA and everything. Actual CAD is celebrated by Kapil only. किसके साथ घूम रहे हो पार्क में? Outside for some work. Alone. So sad. चले. Annual report is same, right? document issued on annual basis by the management or TCWG in accordance with law, regulation, custom. The purpose is to provide owners, shareholders, all the information with respect to entity का operation कैसा है, entity's financial result क्या है, entity's financial position, right? And then annual report contains or accompanies the financial statement as well as the auditor's report. दोनों रहेगा उसमें. All the future outlooks, risk uncertainties, statement by TCWG, chairman statement, MD का क्या statement है, reports covering governance matter, all this will be there. Now requirement of the standard on auditing, first we will start with how will we exactly obtain OI. So we have to know first the objective of this standard was what, that we have to particularly see what is the, whether there is MI between OI and FS, and whether there is MI between OI and AKOA, right? And if there is MI between OI and AKOA or MI between OI and FS, then we'll have to see whether there is any MMS in OI. So before that, we have to first start by obtaining the OI, right? So how do we obtain OI? Determine through discussion with the management which documents comprises annual in the annual report and entities planned manner and timing of issuance of such documents. So you have to discuss with the management that when are you going to issue CSR report, when are you going to issue board's report, when are you going to issue management discussion analysis MADA. So all this you have to discuss with the management, sit with them and see whether when they will be issuing such document, then you will be obtaining all the OIs, right? Then make appropriate arrangements with management to obtain in a timely manner, if possible, prior to the date of auditor report. So you have to try that you should obtain OI before the date of auditor's report, before the date of auditor's report. All final version of all the documents which comprises in the annual report. So all other information you should try to get yourself all with all the annual report documents, with all other information documents before the date of auditor report. However, it will not be possible for you to obtain all information before the auditor's report, right? So when some or all of the documents determined above will not be available until after the date of auditor report, you will then have to request the management to provide a written representation. Management से एक बार confirmation ले लो कि भैया final version of the documents provide कर देंगे वो लोग. Final version of the documents will be provided to the auditor when available after the date of auditor's report. So when you have not, as on the date of auditor's report, when you are signing, right, so on that date you obtain from the management a confirmation ki even on today these documents we have not received but we will receive later on, prior to issuance of the annual report to the entity. So before issuing the annual report to the entity, you will get all these documents from the management. You need to take that written representation from the management. Clear? Now, as I told you, whether are we required to express our opinion? Now you are in library, Kapil. So reading and considering the OI. वहाँ कैसा माहौल है लाइब्रेरी में? So reading and considering the OI. So are we required to express our opinion on FS? Are we required to express our opinion on FS? FS. बोलो भाई. Yes or no? Yes. Are we required to express our opinion on OI? No, right? So that is what they are saying, that you have to consider whether there exists a MI between OI and FS. As the basis of this consideration, auditor shall to evaluate their consistency. Consistency, you have to see what example I gave you, right? Example I gave you CSR expense. So CSR expense consistency, you will have to see कि total जो आ रहा है CSR working का, overall CSR expense in all the areas, in all the segments, in all the geography wise, in overall India में जितना भी CSR expense है, whether the total of CSR expense is tallying with the CSR expense which is given in financial statement. So you have to consistently evaluate the consistency, compare selected amounts or other items in OI with such amounts or other items in the FS. So OI में जो amount दिख रहा है and FS में जो amount दिख रहा है वो tally करना है. राइट, कंसिस्टेंसी चेक करना है, कंपेयर करने सिलेक्टेड अमाउंट्स इन दी ओआई एंड कंपेयर इट विद दी एफएस. Consider whether there is a material inconsistency between OI and AKOA. Also, I'll have to see whether MI is there between Excel की जो फाइल मिली थी अपने को, right? Excel working file मैनेजमेंट ने जो दिया है regarding all the information provided to regarding all the CSR expenses in all areas. So AKOA जो है अपने पास, AKOA auditor knowledge obtained during the audit and OI whether that is consistent or not. Whether that is consistent or not. While reading the OI, the auditor shall remain alert for indications that OI not related to the financial statements and AQA appears to be MMS. मतलब अब जब अगर कंसिस्टेंट नहीं मिल पा रहा है, if you are not able to see the consistency between OI and FS and OI and AQA, then you will have to see what कि auditor have to then see the indications that OI not related to FS or the AQA maybe MMS, maybe materially misstated. That means fine, OI materially misstated हो सकता है with respect to all those information which we can tally. Also, it can so happen that OI can also be materially misstated with respect to all other information. Example हो सकता है number of subscriber भी materially misstated हो. Example, number of subscriber can also be materially misstated. All non-financial information can also be materially misstated. Getting this? So you will have to then read and understand the OI properly. Then OI to be compared. OI may include amounts or other items that are intended to be same as to summarize or to provide greater detail the amounts or other items in the FS. So you will have to then clearly see whether the details or each and every detail of the CSR expense, is it telling the total wise is it telling or not. And then example of such amounts or other items will include all this: table, charts, graphs containing extracts of the FS, disclosure providing greater detail, description of the financial results such as total research and development expense. You may find this in, suppose, MADA. You will find this in MADA. Or similarly, what I was telling you, CSR report में you'll find the detail of all the expenses that you make in CSR report. 13-14 पेज की CSR report है in annual report of L&T, if you will see. So all the expenses that you have committed in CSR, they will compile and specify in the CSR report, so that you can tally with the FS. So all these are example of OI to be compared. Now we'll see the auditor's responses. Very important, where exactly the question comes from this essay 720. If the question comes, it will generally come from auditor's responses. Now how will you respond? Where MI appears to exist or OI appears to be MMS. That means what? There is a material inconsistency between OI and FS or OI and AKOA, and you find this material inconsistency is because of material misstatement in OI. That means बाकी सब फर्स्ट क्लास, बट OI में material misstatement. If the auditor identifies that material inconsistency appears to exist or becomes aware that other information appears to be materially misstated, auditor will discuss the matter with the management. I told you, right? Just now, when we find that okay, there is a material inconsistency between OI and FS or OI and AQA, we'll see that okay, fine, there is material misstatement in OI, so we'll tell the management to rectify. We'll tell the management that please rectify the other information. There is material misstatement in other information. It is not telling. And perform other procedure to conclude whether material misstatement of OI exists. क्या material misstatement OI में है या material misstatement अब FS में बचा है क्या, financial statement में है, और auditor understanding with respect to entity, that is AKOA में है क्या, whether material misstatement is in OI, whether material misstatement is in FS, or whether material misstatement is in AKOA. You will have to see. Getting this? So now that when you conclude that material misstatement is in OI, जब OI में समझ में आ गया तुमको, so I told you whether first you will request the management to correct, right? First you will request management कि भैया correct कर दो. Agree, अगर management agree कर रही है correction के लिए तो बढ़िया बात, बल्ले बल्ले. Management agrees to make the correction, then auditor shall determine that correction has been made properly, adequately or not. If management has agreed to make the correction, then see whether the correction is properly done or not. However, if the management refuses, then auditor will communicate the matter to Papa, right? TCWG. Auditor will communicate the matter to TCWG, right? Then Lakshmi. and request that the correction is made or not. Please TCWG को request करेंगे कि please tell the management to make the correction in the OI. Now if the auditor concludes that material misstatement exists in other information obtained prior to the date of auditor's report, that means what, all this other information in which we are finding MMS, this other information we have obtained prior to the date of auditor's report, and other information is not corrected after communicating that same to the TCWG also. मतलब पापा की भी नहीं सुन रहा है मैनेजमेंट, मतलब पापा की भी नहीं सुन रहा अगर मैनेजमेंट, the auditor will have to take appropriate action regarding what, regarding the is inconsistency and MMS in OI. So auditor will consider the implication now on his auditor's report and communicate with TCWG about how auditor plans to address this MMS in his opinion. In his opinion, auditor report में अब वो देखेगा अपना, या तो modify करेगा या फिर right adverse or disclaimer of opinion. So that will also be communicated to TCWG that if you, the management will not be correcting the MMS in OI, then I will have to look upon the same in the auditor's report. Then I'll have to consider whether I should modify the audit report. And withdraw भी कर सकता हूँ मैं, withdraw from the engagement where withdrawal is possible under applicable law and regulation. However, you already know that whenever you withdraw, there has to be certain compliances, right, after withdrawal also and before withdrawal. So that also has to be followed. Now next come, if auditor concludes that MMS exists in OI obtained after the date of auditor report. That means what? All this other information that you have obtained after the auditor's report, and now you find that there is material misstatement in this OI. There is material misstatement in this OI. So again, you will tell management to correct the OI. Right? First of all, you will tell the management to correct the OI. If OI is corrected, then perform the procedure necessary in the circumstances. What will be this procedure? Generally, this will be the procedure with respect to SA 560 subsequent event, right? After the date of auditor's report, but before issuing financial statement, whatever procedure you will have to may need to perform as per SA 560. As per SA 560, you may need to perform any additional audit procedure, right, on the subsequent events. So SA 560 के accordingly देख लेना. If OI is not corrected after communicating to TCWG, so again appropriate action लेना पड़ेगा considering auditor की क्या legal right and obligation है with respect to what, with respect to withdrawal or auditor's opinion. So since auditor report is already issued, so how will he now auditor opinion को कैसे change करेगा? Auditor report is already issued, so now how will he change the auditor's report? Auditor opinion कैसे change करेगा? Now therefore, considering the auditor's legal right and obligation to seek to have the uncorrected MMS appropriately brought to the attention of the users for whom the audit report is prepared, so then he will make sure the audit report that he has issued, he will make sure he makes aware all the users of those auditor report that auditor report is not that reliable, or there is a material misstatement in the OI because of which should you should refrain from reading the auditor's report. So you will have to then take the appropriate action to make the users of financial statement and make the users of auditor report aware about the same. So that is with respect to if you find misstatement, material misstatement in OI, and the OI, you will have to then bifurcate whether this OI is obtained before the date of auditor's report or after the date of auditor's report. If before the date of auditor report, it is very simple that you will tell the management to correct. If management agree, then fine, very good. Just see that correction is properly done or not. If management do not agree, then firstly communicate to TCWG. Still, if management does not correct the same, then you will have to consider it in your auditor's report and also communicate the same to the TCWG. Plus withdrawal check कर लेना. Plus whether withdrawal has to happen, that also you'll check. If secondly, agar you find that material inconsistency is there and material misstatement is there in other information, and this other information you obtain after the date of auditor's report, after the date of auditor's report, that means auditor report already issued, then you will have to check whether there need to perform any other additional audit procedure, further audit procedure, any audit procedure you need to perform as per other standard on auditing, example SA 560 subsequent event. And you will first of all obviously tell management to rectify the same. If management rectifies, then well and good, check whether the correction is made properly or not. If management do not rectify, then you will tell the management TCWG to please check, and even if after that, then you will have to consider withdrawal, or you will have to see what, not withdrawal, but withdrawal is not specified here. You'll have to only see that users of the auditor report are made aware about this fact, that there exists a material inconsistency, material misstatement in other information. There exists a material misstatement in other information. So do not rely entirely on the annual report which is issued by the entity. Correct? Now, when a material misstatement in the financial statement exists, या फिर material misstatement is in your AKOA, material misstatement is in FS or material misstatement is in AKOA, then it is very simple. Auditor will conclude that MMS is in the FS or is in the AKOA. Then auditor will respond appropriately in accordance with the other standards on auditing. You will then do what? Follow what? If it is there in FS, then probably you will do SF 705 ke accordingly. You will modify, right? In accordance with other standards on auditing, particularly SF 705, where you will modify the same. Just go through this once again and go through this question also. Question MTP November 2025 marks question. Then we'll finish it off with reporting. So till now, any doubt in the standard is easy, right? So you just have to see whether there exists any MI between OI and FS and OI and AQA, right? If there exists any MI, then you will have to consider whether the MMS is present in OI or MMS is present in FS or MMS is present in AQA. So if MMS is present in FS or AQA, then it is very simple. Then you have to apply other standards on auditing. That's it. However, if MMS is present in OI, then you have to see as per SS 7020. Oh, sorry, 720. Then you will have to apply SS 720 if MMS in OI. So again, it will be divided into two parts, right? MMS is in OI, but however, that OI is obtained prior to the date of auditor report, or OI is obtained after the date of auditor report. If prior to the date of auditor's report, then tell the management first of all to rectify the MMS. If management agrees, then well and good. Just check whether the correction is properly done or not. If management do not agree, then communicate the same to the TCWG uh, uh, to please let the management rectify the mistakes or material misstatements in the OI. Even after that, if management is not rectifying, then you will have to consider your auditor's report and communicate about the same to the TCWG. Secondly, if the OI was obtained after the date of auditor's report, then in that case, you have to do what? You will have to see whether management has rectified the same or not. If not, then you will have to see what consideration you are taking it in your auditor's report, right? However, since the auditor's report has already been issued, therefore you just need to perform one procedure as per SA 560 or as per any other standard on auditing. You have to apply your other audit procedure as per any other standard on auditing, and then also make aware the users of the financial statement, the users of the entity, before the issuance of the financial statement or before the issuance of the annual report. Make the users of the auditor's report, make the users of the financial statement aware about this MMS in OI. Okay. Now comes reporting. Reporting wise, you will see that in the case of listed entity and unlisted entity, they have a bit differentiation has been created. So first of all, they say that a separate section you have to include in heading other information. What was the numbering sequence number of other information in auditor's report, in audit report format? What was the sequence of OI other information? Yes, sequence. After key audit matter para, correct. In the 7th number other information, correct everyone. So you will have to include all this reporting now, whatever we are trying to report under SA 720, this everything will be reported where? In other information after key audit matter para. So you'll have to include a separate section in heading other information or other appropriate heading when at the date of auditor's report, as on the date of auditor's report, as on audit report date, you'll have to see in the case of listed entity, in the case of other than listed entity. So other than listed entity के केस में some or all OI obtained, you'll have to say some or all OI has obtained. So even if you miss certain OI, that is also fine. However, in case of listed entity, you'll have to specifically say what all OI has been obtained and what other OI not obtained, pending. So specifically you have to be very clear what other information have you obtained and other information that you have not obtained. So in essence, you have to deal with all other information in the case of listed entity. However, you have to say only those other information which you have obtained till the date of auditor's report. In the case of other than listed entity, see, for audit of financial statement of a listed entity, the auditor has obtained or expects to obtain the other information. So what all OI you have obtained and other OI that you expect to obtain, you have to clearly mention the same in separate heading under the section other information. Similarly, in the case of unlisted entity, auditor has, you will specify that we have obtained some or all of the OI. Whatever other information you have obtained, that only you have to mention, not whether you expect to obtain other information, that you all don't have to mention. Then when the auditor's report is required to include an OI section, it shall include, first quickly tell me, what do you think other information किसकी responsibility है? Whose responsibility to prepare other information? Is it auditors? Is it management? Is it whose responsibility? Management, right? Everyone. So you'll have to clearly specify first of all that it is not our responsibility, it is management responsibility. Then what is auditor's responsibility? I've told you. What is auditor's responsibility with respect to other information? Are we here to express our opinion? Are we here to obtain Sai? Wrong, Sagar. We are not here to obtain Sai. We are not here to express our opinion. We are here to read and understand the OI. That's it. Read and understand the OI and see if there is any MI between OI and FS and see if there is any MI between OI and AQA. That's it. So that is what you have to see. Identification of OI obtained by the auditor prior to the date of auditor's report, and for an audit of FS of listed entity, OI if you expect it to obtain even after the date of auditor's report. So this is for other than listed entity, other than LE. Other than listed entity, you will have to specify that till the date of auditor's report, these are other informations that we have obtained. And in the case of listed entity के case में, you will have to also specifically mention what other information you expect to obtain after the date of auditor's report. And a statement that auditor opinion does not cover OI. ठीक है सागर? An auditor's opinion does not cover OI. You don't have to obtain any SAI with respect to any information, number of subscribers के लिए or any other information. You don't have to do the audit. You don't have to express your opinion. Your responsibility is to read and understand the OI. So you will specify specifically that point only, that our responsibility is not to express any opinion on OI, and accordingly that the auditor does not express any audit opinion on the form of assurance, conclusion thereon, and a description of the auditor's responsibility. And auditor responsibility is to reading, considering, and reporting the OI as required by this standard on auditing. Clear? Our responsibility is to read, understand, consider whatever the reporting responsibility as per OI as required by the standard on auditing. And when other information has been obtained prior to the date of auditor's report, so all other information that you have obtained prior to the date of auditor report, either you will find that there is material misstatement in the OI, or you will find that material misstatement is not there in the OI. If MMS is not there in the OI, then your statement will be issued by the auditor stating that nothing has to be reported. However, if there is MMS in the OI, then you'll specify that there is an uncorrected material misstatement of the OI, a statement that describes the uncorrected material misstatement of the OI. I hope reporting is very much clear. Just go through this question. Although this question specifically asks about reporting, however, ICI के suggested answer में you won't find this reporting वाला point. Reporting answer में नहीं है, but I suggest to write the reporting point as well, since they have specifically mentioned auditor's duty with regard to reporting. With regard to reporting, this question came in my attempt. November 2020 exam question है. Go through this and see the answer also. In a way, you will revise the entire standard SA 720. You will also read reporting, because anyway I told you what suggested answer में reporting नहीं है, but you will anyway specify the reporting points also in the answer, because it specifically asks for reporting. Auditor duty with regard to reporting. ठीक है? So read both the topics, reporting also and also this point, ये वाला जो था, because they have mentioned that only in the suggested answer. Go through the question and then both the answer. हाँ, क्या बोल रहे हो सागर? व्हाट्स योर क्वेश्चन?
So I am asking that in this question the partner's responsibility is only to communicate and report na on the UI.
Auditor's partner or overall auditor you will say ना?
Now auditor in this question he is named
Yeah,
as a
auditor
partner.
की जो responsibility as per SA 720, he has to consider all this other information also. So audit manager is correct, audit partner is wrong na. He's saying that you don't have to consider all this other information because we are not concerned with those information, we are only concerned with FS, financial statement.
Sir, even after considering, I am asking he has only to communicate and report na.
He has to report in other information, अपना सेक्शन है ना अलग से ऑडिटर्स रिपोर्ट. अगर उसको कोई
हाँ
एमएमएस
वही.
मिलता है, एमएमएस मिलता है
हाँ.
ओआई में, अदर इन्फॉर्मेशन में ओआई कोई एमएमएस मिल रहा है उसको, तो देन यू विल हैव टू रिपोर्ट सेपरेटली. एंड इवन इफ ही डज नॉट गेट एनी एमएमएस, देन आल्सो ही विल से दैट ही हैज नथिंग टू रिपोर्ट. ये वाला जो रिपोर्टिंग का पॉइंट है अपना, then also you have to specifically say that a statement that the auditor has nothing to report. अगर OI has been obtained prior to the date of auditor's report, then he will specifically mention is वो 7th पैरा में अपने ऑडिट रिपोर्ट की अदर इंफॉर्मेशन सेक्शन के अंदर.
ओके मतलब कुछ ना कुछ लिखना ही पड़ेगा ना उस सेक्शन
या
में.
जस्ट लाइक की ऑडिट मैटर पैरा जो था अपना, इफ इट इज एप्लीकेबल टू यू लिस्टेड एंटिटी के केस में मैंडेटरी है, राइट? सो इवन इफ देयर इज नो की ऑडिट मैटर, स्टिल यू विल राइट व्हाट, कि की
दैट दे
ऑडिट
आर
मैटर्स आर नॉट प्रेजेंट एक्सेप्ट फॉर modification or going concern, if at all it is there, which is
ओके सर.
separately reported according to their respective standards.
ठीक है सर.
So this example of amounts or other items that may be included in the OI, this came in November 19 exam. Examples of amounts or other items that may be included in other information. So what all amounts or other items that you can include in other information that they have given you? Example, they have given key financial results such as net income, earning per share, dividends, ये सब तुमको मिलेंगे investor presentation, for example. Investor presentation में या key financial highlights में मिलेंगे तुमको, right? All this data, selected operating data, income from continuing operation, major operating income, ये सब मिलेगा तुमको. By geographical wise, segment wise, product wise, differentiation. Then special items such as asset disposition during the year, litigation के ऊपर कितना कितना प्रोविजन बनाया तुमने, assets impairment, tax adjustments, environmental remediation provisions, restructuring, reorganization. फिर liquidity and capital resource information. So any news regarding that, um, that there is going to be some capital infusion or there is going to be an IPO in next year, IPO, FPO, right? The news regarding those, capital infusion, liquidity, capital expenditure, what you are going to undertake in next few years, what is your plan, that information you can also probably obtain from annual report. So all these information are will be there. You can just go through the same. For example, certain ratios, certain measures such as gross margin, return on average capital employed, return on average shareholder equity, current ratio, interest coverage ratio, ICR, right? All these key financial information you'll find in annual report. All these are what other items or amounts that may be included in the OI. Similarly, other items क्या क्या होंगे, वो ऊपर में amounts है, यहाँ पे other items है. Explanation of critical accounting estimate, related assumptions, all the disclosures that you will find, right? Except from the notes to account. Notes to account तो already a part of financial statement, that we are not talking about. Other disclosure, other assumptions that you will make in other than financial statement, अदर इंफॉर्मेशन के अंदर जो अदर आइटम्स आएंगे ना, वो सब तुम्हारे अदर आइटम्स में आएंगे. ठीक है? आर्टिकुलेशन ऑफ द एंटिटीज पॉलिसीज, अप्रोच टू मैनेज कमोडिटी, फॉरेन एक्सचेंज कैसे मैनेज करने वाले हो, इंटरेस्ट रेट रिस्क, यूज ऑफ फॉरवर्ड कॉन्ट्रैक्ट्स, इंटरेस्ट रेट स्वैप्स, IRS, ऑफ बैलेंस शीट अरेंजमेंट, गारंटी, indemnification, contractual obligation, this all you will find in the annual report in other separate sections. So these are all what other items, because these are not under monetary figures, right? कोई monetary figure अपन इस पे establish नहीं कर सकते. So this is your homework, just go through the same. This they have asked as a very basic question, I will say I don't expect any more them to ask again, because this is very basic question. Since this was applicable for the first time in November 19, this standard came in 2019 or 2018. So this standard was applicable for the first time, and that is why they asked this basic question. However, you should also be aware about these amounts and other items. So go through the same. This is your homework. We are done with what? SS 700 की series completely. We are left with SS 600 की series now. ठीक है? And rest what chapters are left? Still we are left with a huge chunk, huge portion of chapter. We are left with huge chunk of chapters. This I have not shared with you, na? So see, we are done with tax audit, professional ethics, right? Including test, peer review, quality review का test बचा है. So next test will be on that. And ऐसे 500 की series पे test है ना तुम्हारा on Sunday, tomorrow ऐसे 500 की series. Then ऐसे 600 की series बची अपनी. Chapter 3, Chapter 4 हो गया, LODR हो गया. So we are left with what? Other audits: insurance, due diligence, investigation, forensic audit, internal audit, operational management audit, bank audit, and then consolidated financial statement. So 6 major chapters are left. We will be able to, I think we will be able to finish it off by 15th or 20th July maximum. So what I was of the opinion कि अपन काफी डिले चल रहे हैं, बट फाइन, ठीक ही चल रहे हैं. कंपनी ऑडिट में थोड़ा टाइम लगेगा. सो इफ आई कंसीडर एक्सपेक्टेड नंबर ऑफ डेज, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. So around 21, 22 more days we will require. ठीक है? To comprehensively cover the entire syllabus, obviously. And in between there will also be some tests, so that will also again get delayed. So by 25th we will be able to over, I think 22 to 25th. ठीक है? कौन मैसेज भेज रहा है? कृपाली. Yes. So now we'll be starting with team game. The team that wins will get MCQ book. ठीक है? MCQ book will be shipped to you. So the team I'll divide. We are having 7 members. So one team will be having 3 and the other team will be having 2. ठीक है? So धनलक्ष्मी and गरिमा हो जाओ. I'll be कच्चा नींबू. नो. धनलक्ष्मी and गरिमा. MCQ book already printed. Oh ho. नो पढ़ाई गेम. अरे पढ़ाई गेम ही होगा. पढ़ाई गेम ही होगा. गरिमा, you don't have any motivation then to play. Fine, we will give some other prize to you if you win. ठीक है? आ जाओ सागर. कौन एक गायब हो गया? हाँ, डेट शायरी विल ऑल्सो हैपन सागर, डोंट वरी. कपिल बाहर आ जाओ तुम अपने पार्क में. कपिल पार्क में आ जाओ बाहर, along with that person with whom you were roaming. And धनलक्ष्मी गरिमा हो जाओ. सुनेश्वरन एंड सागर एंड पूजा एंड कपिल. सुनेश्वरन एंड सागर एंड पूजा एंड कपिल. ठीक
सर
है?
भुवनेश्वरन को अलग ही रखो क्योंकि वो बहुत ज्यादा स्ट्रॉन्ग कॉम्पिटिटर है.
but we are left with only 6 people, na?
7 लोग थे ना? अच्छा